Have you ever planned out everything perfectly just to have it fall apart on you? That was me last week. So today I am going to be sharing with you what fell apart, what we are doing, and tips and tricks that you can do to overcome the unknown when it railroads your plans. Welcome to Pinebrook Homestead. My name is Marie, a happy wife with 4 boys, 2 grandchildren, and one on the way. I've been a full-time mother and homemaker for 35 years, with the last 14 developing our suburban homestead, where we grow 50% of our food. The past 4 years has taught me some skills to be more self-sufficient amongst our neighbors. We don't depend on delivery, we don't buy to keep up, and we find ways to do it ourselves. Join me this month as we dive deeper into returning to the basics to save money. I promise you some inspiration in the home, in the gardens, and for you. It's a busy homemaking day today and a lot of laundry to do, but I cannot wait to share with you what happened last week. And I'm sorry I went MIA, but there were some bad things that happened, but they all turned out good. And this is what I want to share. So I'm going to hang my laundry and let's go have some tea on the deck. So I have a little bit of my Earl Grey tea left, and I've been working really hard this morning trying to get caught up. But last week, and this is where it all began. So last week, I had everything planned out, including the garage sale. So if you have been with me, you know that I have been working on cleaning out the house, getting ready for a garage sale. So, not this past Saturday, the Saturday before, um, we ended up with a storm that was torrential downpours, 5.5 inches out of one storm. Now, that was a lot of water. All of our alerts are going off for flash flooding. Fortunately, with the creek behind us, we did not have any flooding. 13 miles south of me, there's homes that are damaged that had 2 feet of water in them. I don't know what's going on this year with all this flash flooding. It is crazy. But what does 5.5 inches do to a garden? Well, the pots, some have not fared well. The calendula behind me, this pot could not drain 5.5 inches out as fast as it was coming down. So it has developed some powdery mildew and all that. I'm just kind of waiting to see if it'll bounce back a little bit. I have another calendula in front of me that didn't fare well. The peppers, they're doing well. All the peppers around, and we just kind of had to let them dry out. Now, I feel like they might have drained better. But if you notice, I do not have any zucchini or squash anymore behind me. So if you've been with me this summer, we were growing zucchini and sunburst squash up on the lower deck. We had to pull those. And yes, with all of those plants, I was infested with the vine borer. So literally, I just took the plant, the roots were still inside, and the whole plant was off. So we did that. We are actually getting ready to plant potatoes in here and have a very late harvest potato. I can actually grow through, depending, through mid to late October. I have been able to even grow into November. So we'll just see what kind of weather we get this year. But so that is all gone. Tomatoes. The tomatoes up in my pots, they did not fare well. They could not drain 5.5 inches. So they have developed like a late blight, which means every time the tomato ripens, the tomato has black spots all over it. So I've lost tomatoes. Now, is that a bad thing? No. I still have my row of tomatoes. They drained well. The beds always seem to drain better than the containers do. Um, so I still have those. I don't have a lot, but I still have a lot of tomato products downstairs. So I'm okay on the tomatoes. The biggest one, all that rain brought in about 30 pounds of cucumbers I had to deal with. I still have cucumbers I have to deal with. That rain also brought out all the slugs, all the slugs. So what was happening is I lost one head of cabbage to the slugs. And at that point, I looked at my husband and I said, they got to come out. So last week, we were still dealing with 40 pounds of cabbage. They all had to come out or I was going to lose them. So that put that on my week. And all of this was not planned. I did not have it planned to be doing so many cucumbers and to deal with all the cabbage. But all the cabbage is out. The carrots did germinate, though. I will share that with you. All that rain, the carrots germinated. So that was good. Here was the thing, I easily can get overwhelmed when all of this happens on top of everything I've planned out. For us, it is back to school time. My son currently, my youngest, who is still in high school, is actually at all day and night band camp this week. So we had to get shoes for him. We had to get some things done for him. There was a parent meeting, all that kind of stuff was caked, topped with icing and a little cherry on last week. And then the garage sale. Fortunately, last week, I only worked at my granddaughter's and grandson for them, babysit them on Tuesday. So I had Thursday to get ready for the garage sale. So that is what I was doing. I was a mad, frantic woman. If I wasn't doing food, I was getting ready for this garage sale. And here's the thing, and this is like my number one tip. A lot of us are list makers. Get it off your mind. If things like this are coming at you so fast and adding to your already busy week, grab a piece of paper and mind dump. That's what I had to do. I had to mind dump. And then it became just a list that I was crossing off. I was canning into the wee hours. I was so tired, no makeup. And I don't wear a lot, but no makeup, hair a mess. There was no way. I didn't even have the capacity to pop up the camera and say, this is what I'm doing. I should have put a note out there to all of you, but it was a very stressful week. So you've mind dumped, right? I put everything down on paper. And then the next best thing that I can tell you is one task at a time, one day at a time. But here's the problem. We as women, we are so good at, let's say we're chopping cucumbers to make pickles, okay? And this is what happens to me. I'm chopping cucumbers to make pickles, and my mind isn't focused on chopping this cucumber. It's a habit that I just do. It's one of those methodical tasks that you're doing. So what happens is I'm chopping cucumbers and my mind's racing. And I have to go, stop, just stop. Consciously stop your mind if you can. It is tough, ladies. It is so tough. And my husband always jokes that, he has his nothing box and my mind is always racing. And that's just the way that it is. But if you can just slow your mind down, maybe put on a podcast, put on a book, an audio book, or something like that, that you can listen to while you're doing those tasks, one task at a time, then your mind doesn't wander as much. Because when my mind does that, my heart starts racing and I'm getting stressed out and I'm going, it is taking me too long to chop cucumbers. I need to get on to the next task. It was just crazy. So make sure also to take time for you. Take that break, whether it's a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, sit down with something for 20 minutes. Don't forget to eat either on those days. Let me tell you, my diet last week, I would get to like 2 o'clock in the afternoon and I'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm famished because I would get up and I'd get started right away. So make sure to take care of yourself in these busy times. And you might not have a garden, you might not have all these things coming in, but you might have a job and you might have family obligations, or somebody fell sick, or somebody needs your help, or maybe it's with church or something. Our weeks can get so busy so fast that we have to monitor and watch our time. I actually heard at one point that someone had said to time yourself doing all of these tasks. So, how long does it take me to do laundry? How long does it take me to cook dinner? How long does it take me to do breakfast? How long does it take me to drive to work? How long, just time out all of your tasks and then actually look at how many tasks you are trying to fit into what, a 12-hour day, a 15-hour day, a 17-hour day, and are you getting some sleep? I had to do that. I kind of had to time myself and go, okay, I'm done with this task. I need to move on. Um, I can revisit it. I can pickle more cucumbers another day. I did relish, I did cucumbers, I did vinegar spears, I did the fermented pickles. I cannot eat pickles all winter long, but let me tell you, we have enough pickles to eat all winter long. At every meal, we probably have enough pickles for every single meal. These sweat bees are awful with all this rain. Does anybody else have the problems with the sweat bees? Oh my goodness, they are just awful. So I learned that the sweat bees like to kind of live in the ground. But when the ground is so saturated, it brings them all up, and we have just this amazing amount of sweat bees. It's kind of crazy. Anyways, um, it is time to pull the plants that are just not producing anything and put another round of crops in. So that is something that I'm working on. That was on my list. And oh, the garage sale. It did well. It did well. I think all in all, and I had a few items from my daughter-in-law and my son put some items in, but overall, I think we ended up doing over $400. And I thought that was really good for 2 days of clearing out the stuff. And what didn't sell, we ended up donating to Volunteers of America yesterday and got the garage cleaned out. So a lot going on the homestead, but I really want you to take care of yourself. Really do. And sometimes you just have to go a little slower. Sometimes we have to do the mind dump. Sometimes, sometimes we have to let it go. We do. The only problem is I'm not willing to let the food go. When I talked about back to the basics, and the food is one of those basics. So that became very quickly a top priority for me. And we are going to get in. I'm a little over these sweat bees. We are going to get inside and start some sauerkraut.
Your eyes, all night under the covers. Your place, my place, it doesn't matter. No one has to know. We'll keep it on the low. Round and round we go. falling for you, feeling your skin, the night's getting colder, falling, holding, it's getting better. No one has to know, we'll keep it on the low. Round and round we go, falling for you.
Don't throw these out. They can go into your soup bag. How many of you have been fermenting? I know you want to talk about back to the basics and slow food and just how good it is for you. It is amazing. So this is how I like to start it. I start it in a bowl, and I'll share with you the different methods and vessels that I have for um, fermenting the cabbage. Now, am I fermenting all 40 pounds? No, but I do want to have enough sauerkraut to get through the winter. Did you know that sauerkraut has more vitamin C in it than anything? And I will look up exactly how much vitamin C and I will put it on the screen for you. But it is a huge source of vitamin C. So if you can go to the farmer's market, grow your own, make your own sauerkraut, that is going to be huge for immunity during the winter months. And all you have to do is have a tablespoon of it with a meal um, to get all the good benefits of it. It's amazing. Okay, so this is how I was taught to do sauerkraut, and it has worked for me every single time. I am sure various people have slightly different variations on how they do it, but this batch I am just going to make as a plain sauerkraut. I am going to add in to a couple other batches when I do it in the mason jars that's going to have some carrot and even a jalapeno pepper in it and just give it that zing. So I have my Redmond real salt. And what I want to do is I want to bring out the water in this cabbage. And there is a lot of water in this cabbage. So we are going to start sprinkling it with salt and working it into the leaves. Now, on this bowl, I have been told, and like I said, it has worked out for me every time, that when I'm doing sauerkraut, you want it to where it just starts to taste salty. So it is a taste thing. So I have a tablespoon here. I am going to do 1 tablespoon on this big bowl, 2 tablespoons, and then I am going to start working it in. And I have clean hands. I'm going to work it in with my hands and just start squeezing the cabbage. This was 1 head of cabbage. And there's very different methods or vessels that you can actually ferment in. You can ferment in mason jars, which I do. You can also ferment in a fermentation crock. And I can link this in the description box below for you. It is amazing because it has a lid and then you pour water around the ring. So it seals it and you don't have to burp it or anything like that. So you just put it all in the crock and then you let it go. All right, so I am going to start adding 2 more tablespoons of salt. Now, this salt I love. It is mineral rich and USA. So if you can find, I can link the Redmond real salt for you as well. And all I am doing is literally, just squeezing the cabbage. So massaging the cabbage. And then I'll show you another, once I'm done with this one, I'll show you another method. So I'm going to take a bite at this point of the cabbage. It's salty, so I'm not going to add any more at this point. I'm going to continue to massage it a little bit. And then I'm going to put a towel on it and I'm going to let it sit so that salt will work in and pull some of the moisture off. In about a half an hour, I will go ahead and massage it again. Perfect. So we're going to set that aside. Let's work on the mason jars, and I'll show you how to do this if you don't have the crock. Okay, so I chopped up another half a head of cabbage, and I added about a tablespoon and a half to the uh, cabbage, started to massage it. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to fill my mason jar. And then I have here what is called a tamper. So I'm going to take the tamper and I am going to work, move this over so you can see, I'm going to press down on the cabbage and that will help work the water. It'll bring the water out. So I do have a little bit of salt on this, but we are just going to smash this down. Look how much we can fit in this thing. It's amazing. So then I'm going to add some more. And tamp it down again. Ooh. You can see this. Add a little bit more. I don't want to fill the jar to the complete top because what we are going to do is we are going to add some salt water brine to this. So I've got that down there pretty good because I am going to add a weight on top of this to keep it under the water. But I'm going to fill up the other ones and then I'll show you what I do next. And you can see already the juice that's coming out of this cabbage. Just by tamping it down with a little bit of salt. The other thing I am not using is city water. I have filtered water. I have a Berkey filter. So I am using that. And I'm just going to stir around the salt so it'll dissolve. So while the salt dissolves a little bit, I want to share with you about the mason tops. And this is how I ferment when I'm using mason jars. And you can see it right here with the pickles. But this is what they are. So it is mason top pickle pebbles, but you can use it for the sauerkraut as well. So it is a glass puck. And I just washed these, but they're glass pucks that we are going to sit down on the vegetables to keep the water, keep them under the water. because you do not want the vegetables to come above the water. That is what is going to cause mold. So I am just going to, you can see the minerals in the bottom of this. That is what is so cool about Redmond sea salt, real salt. All right, so I am just going to put my water in here. And then what I am going to do, I just want to make sure that some of the water is getting down there. But remember, the cabbage has a lot of water in it. Add just a little bit more. So then I'm going to take a puck and woo, I added too much. Hold on. There we go. So we're going to take the puck, put it on top so that all of the cabbage stays down below. And then I am going to take one of the nipple sealers, whatever, what did they call it? I don't know. I don't even have my glasses on, folks. Nipple lids. That's kind of what I call it. And I am just going to put the ring on, and this one is ready to go. Now, with cabbage, you definitely want a pan underneath because the cabbage produces way more gases than something like your fermented pickles. So it will bubble. So make sure you have a pan underneath your mason jars. So this is the last cabbage that I had, and I already put that first bowl into here, and it is doing very well. And this, you can just see the moistures coming out of it. So we are going to load this one up. So this was 2 7-pound cabbages that fit into this crock, which is awesome. Technically, I could probably put another cabbage in here, but that's all we're going to do right now. So I do have the remainder of the salt that I had, salt water that I had from the other ones, and I am going to add that in. And then I made one more. You can see the minerals on the bottom of this. I just want them to all get in there. Okay, so I ran down to my other cabbage because I want to keep this under the water. So I grabbed just 2 cabbage leaves, and I am putting this on top. I washed them, and I'm just putting this on top of the sauerkraut, which will help keep the sauerkraut underneath. And these are the pucks. So I'm going to fit these in over top of the cabbage leaves. And these are weighted, so they're going to keep, I just have to be able to get it. There we go. Keep it in there. Keep everything under the water, the cabbage, the sauerkraut under the water. There we go. Perfect. All right, the last step that you're going to do with a crock is you're going to take the lid and put it on there, and then you are going to take some water and you're going to put it on the ring. And this is what seals in air from getting in there. Just like that. Leave it on your counter for about a week to 2 weeks, depending on the temperature of your home. But we'll check on it later this week, and it'll probably be done by next week. So we have two different methods of fermentation, and I just wanted to share. This is my last jar of sauerkraut from last year's cabbage that we harvested the morning of Thanksgiving, which was fun. So last jar, good thing we're putting more in. I think I have 4 more heads of cabbage, and I will be bringing some other cabbage recipes to you, just kind of showing you what you can do with it. It's an inexpensive vegetable. You can get them at farmers markets if you're not growing them. You can get them in the grocery store. You can do all of this yourself, especially when cabbage goes on sale. But yeah, it is fun and it is healthy and it is so much better for us than a bottle of probiotics. So this is going to do your gut good. Thank you so much for joining me today at Pinebrook Homestead. I look forward to visiting with you again, and we will see you on Friday. Bye-bye, everyone.